back. Today we have a Hewlett Packard frequency counter. It's actually off my own pile. I bought it probably 2 years ago. I never had the time to look at it. I didn't even turn it on. It is an interesting version because it's got a grey front and the writing is here as opposed to the other one I have. So I believe this is a military version. It also has the 500 MHz frequency converter. We're gonna do a few checks and then we fire it up and see what happens. Either the smoke is coming out or it stays in. We don't know. It has the quirky power plug. I was very lucky. I have one of these plugs here in stock. The very first, we're gonna do a quick check. At least if the earth bonding is fine, that's okay. 300 ohms at power off and 50-ish at power on. That's about the same as my other one, so I think it's safe to turn it on. I had a brief look inside. It seems everything is there, it's just dusty. And let's give it a go. It's believed to be manufactured in the 60s. Again, this is the very first time we're going to fire this thing up. I like this old Hewlett Packard gear. I just can't walk past one if I see one. My problem at the moment is I've got too many. So if the light goes off, we have a problem. No bang. And doesn't look too bad actually. That's a self-check. So if we wait a bit, we should be able to see something. Let's fire up the frequency generator here. I think the range is 50 MHz on those, and I believe they need at least 200 millivolts to do something. So maybe we have a switch problem. Looks like a dirty switch, huh? Eventually. See this. Yeah. So it is working. All the Nixies are fine as far as I can see. Time base is called. It's got the overnight time base. I think all of the 5245 did have the overnight time base. Not entirely sure, but this one has. My other one has it as well. That's the other one here. It's a bit noisy because apparently the fan is scratching. I need to look at this. And as you can see, the writing is here. And the color is more like cream. This plugin is a precision time interval plugin, which I use every now and then. It's a very handy piece of kit. Let's go back to this one here. Let's see if we can get some more. I would say you're right on the money for that age. This is amazing. Again, I bought it at least 1 or 2 years ago and it was sitting on my shelf for ages. I just didn't find the time, and it just works. If you look at the numbers here. That's what the Racal is reading, and the reference counter, the Hewlett Packard, will read the same. I just didn't use the Hewlett Packard 5345 because it's so noisy. It makes it really hard to understand what I'm saying here. So let's figure out what the transfer plugin does. It seems to move freely, so let's go to plugin. I never used one of those, so let's put 145 megahertz in that. To be honest, I never used one of those. I only ever used this one here, which is a harmonic mixer. Works a bit different. We're gonna do a video about that one as well because it's a pretty interesting piece of kit. But I think I need to read the manual for this one. It's not as straightforward as I thought. I was just thinking you're gonna figure the maximum level I need there, but apparently it's not the case. So now it's counting pretty stable number here. I need to read the manual and I'll come back on that. So let's have a look inside. Get rid of all the noise here and we have a peek inside. It's in very good condition actually. All the cam locks are there. It's a bit dusty, but I think after that time it's allowed to be dusty. There's even a dead spider inside. It's a bit odd. I'm gonna pull the power plug here. So each Nixie got its own board, and it's all transistors. Pretty impressive what they did at this time. Here we got the 5243 overniced time base. Again, I think they were standard on those anyway. I think all it needs is a bit of a clean, perhaps checking the electrolytics. They might be a little bit dry, but usually they are pretty good quality. However, this is 50 years or something like that now. Yeah, another nice one. I think if I clean it a little bit, it's a nice one for the collection. Let's turn it around. Here you got that spider. It looks in pretty good shape. No burned components so far. Still can't figure out when it was made. Nah, Hewlett Packard had the habit in these days. They put their own numbers on, and there was absolutely no manufacturing date. Unfortunately, I have no access to the serial number database or to any serial number database. Unfortunately, nothing to repair so far. We'll probably do a few ESR checks on the capacitors. I may take a video of that. But yeah, you can see it's pretty dusty where the fan was. The only thing which looks a bit odd is actually the position of that board. I think there was some foam here which deteriorated over time, and now it's pushing that to the corner. I think that needs replacing, but that's the only thing I can really see which is no good. Everything else looks very good, and it's pretty impressive. This machine is 50 years plus, most likely, and it is accurate. I would call it accurate. It was whatever 10 minutes out, and it was cold, so even if the Marconi was cold as well, so we don't know exactly where we've been, but at the end of the day it's pretty impressive. If anyone is watching here who has a bit of a clue about serial numbers, serial number U545-01781, made in Great Britain, not made in the USA. Maybe it was made for the British MOD. I would explain the color. I never saw one in grey. I'm trying to figure out how the frequency converter works, and we'll come back on that. So I did a bit of research, but I cannot find this particular model. The counter was produced from 1965, and I think it was $2,900 at this time. The plug-in was $500. But any grey one I can find is a later model, and it's the 5245M for military. This is an L, so it's a sort of a mystery machine here. Okay, we figured out how it works. I'm actually spoiled from the 18 GHz transfer oscillator in my 5345. It's a bit trickier on this one. We're actually running at 144 megahertz, and what you basically do is you find the number on the dial here, and if that's in the green field, we're at 140, and we add this reading, so we're at 144 megahertz, and I think that does it in tens here. So if you make that 154, so that's 154. Now we're coming up here, so 150 plus 4, 154. Interestingly, it doesn't work here, it's reading some garbage here. So the manual says 0.1 milliseconds, and then it seems to be stable. I never used one of these. It's pointless nowadays because pretty much any counter can do 500 megahertz, probably a gigahertz now. So it's just for, it's a collector's item, but it does work as soon as you understand how it works, and every day is a learning day. So let's see what it does on higher frequencies. That was 433. So we're on 433 megahertz. So we need to dial 430-ish, and then we should find something, which is here. Yes, it makes sense. It works. As soon as you understand the principle of it. Make that. So yeah, I dialed 433.33. Apparently the resolution the manual says actually you can change the time base, but what actually happens is it's locking fine here. So there may be some instability, probably down to poor power supply voltage or dead cap, but this seems to be fine. I'm happy with that because I'm not going to use that thing anyway. But it's good to know it works. It's just another nice item for the collection. Okay, just double checking the time base here, and it's now running for about half an hour, and I would say we're right on the money. We are. I know the generator is 1 hertz down. I just checked that this morning. So this is reading 20 hertz too high. I think this is pretty good for a 50-year-old machine. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to touch anything. But just to verify we're getting here, that is supposed to be the real reading, and that's what we get. So I just love that Nixie glow. So warm and lovely. It's not very eco-friendly because it takes a lot of power, that machine, but yeah, old Hewlett Packard gear is just well designed. I think I said that before. Obviously we're talking about gear which was manufactured before the company was sold off to someone else, or the name has changed. I don't know what actually the reason was for that. It seems it's getting better. I think I'll leave it on for an hour or so, too. Maybe it's still not properly warm, the time base. It's just amazing how good that time base is still after that time. As the whole instrument looks, I think it has not seen a lot of work. It was probably sitting on a shelf for most of its time. Getting closer. No, it needs level. It needs 50 millivolts. It needs about 300 millivolts at this frequency here. So let's see what it does. Sometimes I was quite surprised how far it actually go. 60. I was too generous. I think 62 megahertz is probably it does 62. So again, you get what you pay for. And at $2,900 or whatever in 1965, I think this was a pretty amazing piece of kit. And it specified the 50 megahertz. We're doing 62 at 500 millivolts. I think the input sensitivity is not very good. But yeah, if you buy a Chinese counter and it says 500 megahertz on the plate, it does probably 450, 500 if you're really lucky. This says 50 and does 62 at least. And it's as with all the Hewlett Packard gear, they exceed the specification, at least from this era where it was Hewlett Packard. I never had any experience with later gear which had the Agilent label or the Keysight label, so I can't comment on that. I'm not interested in because I can't afford it. I'd rather stay with the old Hewlett Packard gear and enjoy it. New gear is always welcome. as long as there is a Hewlett Packard or Tektronix or Marconi label on it. I think that's it for today. And here we got both back together on the shelf, the 5345 and the 5245. Another piece of kit which works and will be used soon. That's it from the counter so far.